Welcome to Indiana Sports Beat Radio, presented by Endeavor Hospitality Group and Andy Moore Honda of Bloomington.
Looks over the middle, second guesses, fires, throws. Does he make the catch in the end zone? Yes! Touchdown! Oladipo to win it.
Another one!
He got
Another one! Another one!
Huge hole. He's at the 30. He's going to go. 10, 5, touchdown, Jonathan Taylor.
Galloway finds Rob Finnessy, who fires the three, and he hit it!
Now, from the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios, here's your host, Jim Coyle.
Hello, everybody. Welcome aboard. It is Monday. Welcome into Indiana Sports Beat Radio. Hope you had a great weekend and ready to get a great start to your week. The weather should be semi-good, it looks like. It was good over the weekend for the most part. Had some rain come in. But a little rain always makes the flowers go, right? How was your weekend? Hope it was fun and you got to get out and experience some things. I was down at the Crawfest. That was definitely affected by the rain. But that did not stop our good friend Clayton Anderson from rocking it out. He did and had a great time. Hope everyone else is having a good day and ready to get started. Charlie Miller is definitely having a good day. How are you doing, brother?
I'm doing well, guys. How you doing?
I cannot complain. How are things down in Dallas?
Oh, man, not bad. Beautiful day. Nice and hot. Start off my morning right.
It's that time, man. School is getting out, but that does not mean anything slowing down. The AAU circuit has already started, so we've got basketball every weekend. I know you're probably going to be busy every weekend.
Coming up very soon, in about 2 weeks.
Time to make hay, isn't it? It's time to make hay for basketball.
I'm sorry, Jim. Say it again.
I said it's time to make hay for basketball.
Yeah, it's time to get better. This is the time you do it. You know, this summer, you have time to recover as a player, mentally, physically, emotionally. You got your 2-a-days, your 3-a-days if you're crazy enough to get up at 5 in the morning to finish about 5 at night. If you're dedicated to the game and the craft and you want to get better for next year around winter time. So yeah, this is the time to me. You know, outside of just playing games, it's how what do I got to get better at, right?
This is also a time where guys that have not necessarily made a name for themselves can change that.
Yeah.
Names out on this AAU circuit or whatever circuit that are on, you all of a sudden become a known quantity or
you said it. No, you said it.
And that changes because there are a lot of guys that people are like, oh, who's this guy? And all of a sudden, once you start making a little headway, then everybody else starts to notice.
Well, you know, and again, that circle is small. As far as coaches, I mean, these, you know, a lot of coaches are good friends. They share tips, they share footage on strategies against other teams they play against. So, yeah, you know, it's like, and almost you have a good showing against say a 5-star player, 4-star player. All of a sudden now you're getting calls from schools that wasn't probably on your radar, but you have to play your way into that opportunity. So I'm excited for those kids as well, right? A lot of kids gonna have a lot of exposure, a lot of great opportunities, and now put themselves in a great position for, you know, years to come.
You know, I'm looking at one of the draft's top 5 prognostications, and in it, I see 2 guys that played in the Big Ten, but the funny thing is the Big Ten basically sucked and sucks when it comes to playing a national schedule, national NCAA tournament, not having success there, but yet still has these great players. Keegan Murray, of course, one of those. Jaden Ivey, listed in a lot of people's top 5. He doesn't do it for me personally to be in a top 5. I'd rather have Chet Holmgren or Keegan Murray personally. they just do so much more. Not that Jaden Ivey is not a great player. He is at point guard, but God, I look at Keegan Murray and I'm like, where do you want him to play?
Right.
It's like, where would you like for him to play? Chet Holmgren, the same thing. Almost. Where do you want him to play? 7 foot tall. 7'1"? You want him to play point guard? I've seen him bring the ball up the floor. He could probably handle it for a little bit. It's nuts.
Yeah.
But these players are starting to become so well-rounded that, man, if you're not, you're coming up from behind.
Yeah, and think about it. You know, the top 3, 4, 5% in each class that's destined to go state to play in the top levels of professional basketball, the Chet Holmgrens of the world. You didn't see that in Keegan Murray, right? He worked his way into that. But those kind of players now, I mean, they've been exposed. I think I said it last week, Jim. They've been exposed to playing at a high level ever since like 7th, 8th grade traveling. That it's like playing in a arena of 20,000 people is like normal. I mean, I know for me that didn't happen until like my freshman, sophomore year. You got used to that, man. They're traveling, itinerary, staying in hotels. I mean, they're well-rounded as people to me now. So when they get on the court, I mean, they're playing against friends. You're playing against friends from other states. So it's a different climate, man. But yeah, players like Chet Holmgren, I mean, he's a dime. I mean, you can't say he's a dime a dozen, but I mean, yeah, he's almost a unicorn.
Absolutely. And not only do I see, Keegan Murray and Jaden Ivey, but right there listed at number 10 is Johnny Davis. So that makes it even all the more mind-boggling. That's 3 out of the top 10 of these guys are coming from the Big Ten, yet the Big Ten basically sucks when it comes to national play, playing nationally, playing in the tournament. They're not having that success, but yeah, they've got 3 of the top 10 guys going on to play in the NBA. That's weird because the style of play in the Big Ten does not lend itself to success on the national scale.
So I would tell you what I think of that. And it also goes from high school. Coaches recruit players. They draft players, not teams, right? So we have a lot of success in the NCAA tournament. Yet, I mean, what's his name from Wisconsin?
Johnny Davis.
Johnny Davis. Yeah, he gave me nightmares that second half. In Bloomington, I mean, that kid didn't miss a shot. Right. So, I think it's what, the work ethic, yes, and just that relentless pursuit of being aggressive. That's what it takes to be a professional player at that level. And I think all 3 players exude that. They've shown that. Now, when it comes to wins, Purdue loses to I can't think of the name, but I know the coach, Shaheem Holloway's team. Loses to a small school, but Ivy's been a top player in the league for a long time. So I think it's more of the individual attributes that are there. They belong. They're professional players. I believe they are professionals. It's now a matter of fit, right? Fit over pick to see where they go and do they flourish for years to come as professional players in the NBA.
Yeah, I agree. And I'm just wondering, when is that going to transfer for the Big Ten into better play on the floor?
Right.
I guess that just means that for whatever reason, the style of play that these players are playing on at the particular time in school is not translating to the stage.
Well, it opens up, right? I mean, I think, a good case in point is, and not highlighting him. So I don't know him personally, but Tyrese Maxey, he went to high school here in this area, Dallas. And, right now he's making a very good name for himself in the NBA, what he did with Philly. stepping up, scoring the ball, bringing the ball up the court, making crucial plays, impact plays. He said it himself, in his draft interview, I can do way much more than what I did at Kentucky, right? I think, that's just sometimes players do sacrifice their game for the greater gain of the team, but then you get players in individual workouts, you get them playing, 5-on-5 pickup 3-on-3, you see a whole nother side of a player, right? A side that you really didn't see throughout the season because it probably didn't call for it. So I think that's what probably is happening with those kind of players. I saw greatness in all three guys you mentioned in the Big Ten. Now they get in those environments where they can really play. And the game's more of a flow, finding your own shot, being relentless, not chasing mistakes. I mean, all three guys are pros, for sure.
And there's plenty of other players in this league that are in the Big Ten that we've seen that are have that chance to go on. Of course, Trace Jackson Davis, one of those that Indiana fans are concerned with. But it's a league that always produces that talent. But it's weird to watch how the league is changing, or it has changed as far as how they play the game, which will change the type of player that you bring in.
Oh, no question. I mean, now it's the game now is more, what they call that, false motion, balls moving. I don't know if there's any actions other than probably the, third or fourth high side of passes before you really get into a ball screen or handoff, which is, it's almost cookie cut around the college scene now. But I think those players that can make plays always stand out. And, again, it's always, to be seen how well they flourish and play in, like the Trey Burks of the world. Look what he did at Michigan, and now he's a journeyman in the NBA, but he's still around, right? But, again, always a TBD to me, man.
Absolutely. What's new going on with you? How was your weekend?
Weekend was great for me. More of a, again, this is kind of the calm before I really get going. I didn't realize, and sometimes I don't pay attention until it's like time to. I'm home for like 3 days in June. So I'm going from one place to another. But again, this is kind of like what you prepare for, just like a season. And I'm just thankful to still have that opportunity to do this at a high level, travel, people listen, learn from me, and, less Bob Knight stories, and more substance and, of delivery. But no, man, just I look forward to it, traveling, meeting people, learning from people. That's kind of what I'm getting ready for. And that's like, I'd say about 10 plus days. First stop is Anchorage, Alaska. Then I go to Utah. After Utah, I go to Denver. I come home for a couple of days and you're back out, gone for another 9 plus days. So I enjoyed it. I look forward to it.
Look forward to talking about it. Kyler Staley is going to join us next. We'll see what happened over the weekend at the Adidas May Classic and the Prep Hoops Havoc in the Heartland. You're listening to Indiana Sports Beat Radio, brought to you by our good friends at Courtroom Sports Grill, located down in Bedford. Also part of the WOW Club, which you can join in your Apple App Store or Google Play Store. It's totally free to sign up. Start earning WOW rewards today. WOW Club members earn exclusive dining discounts, dining dollars to spend, and more sent directly to your phone. We're back with more Indiana Sports Beat Radio right after this.
We'll be right back to the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios for more Indiana Sports Beat Radio with Jim Coyle, presented by Endeavor Hospitality Group and Andy Moore Honda of Bloomington.
Whether you're visiting Bloomington.
Morning, Kyler. Is your camera not working?
I guess not. Can you hear me?
I hear you just fine, but you just got a black screen.
Yeah, I see that. Let me exit out and join back in, see if that works.
Okay, cool. Charlie, I can't believe your first trip for your camp or AAU, whatever it's called, is to Alaska.
Yeah. Anchorage.
Oh, that's nuts.
I tell you. And
you
this
been
year,
to Alaska?
Yeah, we played in what was called the Alaskan Shootout.
Okay.
Years ago. I don't believe they have that tournament anymore, but it used to be like seasonal kickoff in college.
Mm-hmm.
And Anchorage, Alaska used to host it. So I played in the tournament went down there my sophomore year. So I look forward. I like going back to places like we went to Maui. Went to Maui for my honeymoon. I didn't go by the Civic Center, but basically, going by the areas where you probably practiced at or played at. For me, is always it's a treat because
That's cool,
not being present to all the surroundings when you were younger. Now you can go places and visit, and so I look forward to going all these places, man, because it's pretty cool.
Kyler, if you don't want to use that black screen, you can do what Charlie's doing and turn your camera setting off and put a little bubble with your picture on it.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know what's going on here.
Who knows? You're not the only person that's happened to. I think that's happened to Zach Osterman a few times as well. Man, so you'll be home for how many? You say 3 days in June?
Sorry about that.
No, you're good. You're good.
I keep hitting the wrong button, but
no,
I'm
you're
just
fine.
But I don't want to mess with it.
Jim, we got 1 minute.
Yeah, you have to be Dustin. Dustin. Sorry about that. John, you got to be. No, John. I called you. I'm thinking about camps. The president of our camps, his name is Dustin. You Dustin.
Oh.
But I was going to say, you have to be logged in to StreamYard to put up your avatar.
Oh, okay, yeah. So, Kyler, if you're not logged in.
Well, I mean, possibly. Yeah, okay. Possibly.
That's odd. I guess you can hear me.
Yeah, it's all good. I mean, that's the primary thing.
Yeah.
So we're good. Here we go.
Football, and plenty more. Simply go to thehoosier.com and sign up. It's free. You can also find full episodes of Indiana Sports Beat Radio on the homepage or on the station every week, Monday through Friday. If we're not on a station where you live, we should be. Ask for Indiana Sports Beat Radio. This segment is brought to you by Southern Stone Restaurant. Now back to the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios for more Indiana Sports Beat Radio with Jim Coyle, presented by Endeavor Hospitality Group and Andy Moore Honda of Bloomington.
Welcome back. It is a Monday. I hope you had a good weekend. The skies look like they're solid blue, so it could be a good day out there. Joining us now, Charlie Miller, as always. Kyler Staley from thehoosier.com joining us as well as this weekend, the return of the AAU circuit as the Adidas May Classic was going on, as well as the Havoc in the Heartland up in the Indianapolis area, Noblesville, really, for the Adidas May Classic. How was it?
AAU was back, but it wasn't the most eventful of weekend. I was able to get out and see the Indiana Elite guys. Unfortunately, the two games that I watched were very bad blowouts. Like I'm talking like 100 to like 20. So it was
wow.
It wasn't. Let's just say it wasn't worth scouting all that much. There wasn't a whole lot. I could learn. Really, not a whole lot that any other player can learn. It was just kind of poorly paired up, I would say, on that end. But like I did get to see those guys. Still got some eyes on them. Floyd Badunga had the easiest day probably of his playing career so far. I mean, it was just I kid you not, there was probably like 6 possessions in a row that resulted in a dunk by him. And then Cooper Koch played pretty well. Raleigh Burgess played well. The one guy I was a little disappointed I didn't get to see was Travis Perry. He wasn't there on Saturday when I got there, so I wanted to talk to him, but fortunately couldn't. I guess coming out of that, the main thing that I got to see was the future backcourt of Penn State with Micah Shrewsbury and Logan Imes. So that was kind of fun to watch them play off each other. But other than that, not the biggest weekend when it comes to AAU.
Micah Shrewsbury and Imes both coming from Indiana, right?
Yes. Yeah. I believe Micah transferred.
Kind of odd that Penn State's going to have a backcourt of Indiana players. You know that Michigan State will always have an Indiana player. Michigan usually has an Indiana player. Illinois will still have one. Ohio State probably. Purdue, Indiana. I mean, Purdue feeds the entire Big Ten, Charlie.
Yeah.
I mean, Indiana feeds the entire Big Ten.
Yeah, Indiana, yeah, I get that.
I mean, it's from a player's perspective, and that's wild to me. Is Indiana is the smallest state of those states.
Yeah. But no, yeah. So I got to watch them play. Well, thing is with Logan and Micah, they've been playing together since they were like in middle school. So like they've had that ties, Logan Imes has been close with the Shrewsbury family. So it kind of made sense in a way that he would go to Penn State and play with Micah.
Wow.
Which is cool. I know that, and then a future backcourt that Indiana fans hopefully will see will include, I'm talking Trent Sisley and Jalen Harrelson, which I'm not sure. I don't think you got to see this weekend, but that's definitely a backcourt that Indiana fans are hoping to see 3 years from now.
Yeah, it's kind of a long way, but if they continue to build that relationship, Indiana does have a good shot to land both of them. And those guys have been playing together for probably since their middle school days as well. So they have a really close relationship together. So they could be looking to go to the same school together and continue to play off of one another.
Looking forward to that. So what now? Coming up, is there a week off before the Memorial Run-In Slam up in Fort Wayne for the circuit?
Yes. So you got coming up, you've got this weekend off, and then then the following weekend you've got the Memorial Weekend Run-In Slam, plus the Nike EYBL. I believe that's the session 3 in Louisville. And then June you get a little bit busier. You've got a few events. The main one in June, you've got the Top 100 Showcase at Ben Davis. So expect to see a lot of coaches out for that. Always a really good event. You get to see the top 100 players in the state of Indiana, battling it out and competing against one another. So that's always fun to watch.
The event in Louisville coming up, Tim says you'll get to see Gabe Cupps and Reed Shepard playing there in Louisville on the 27th. Playing against DJ Wagner's AAU team.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there's that. Charlie, you don't get a chance to see a lot of these guys out and about doing what you're doing throughout the summer because everybody is coming to you specifically, right?
Right. That or you come into a camp where you don't really you attract top players, but here and far and between. But most part, I'm training guys like that individually.
And I'm wondering why more coaches don't send their best players together to places, because it seems like everybody just goes off and does their own thing.
That's the parity for me. Kyle, you might speak a lot on it, but because it puzzles me here when I hear, of a high school team and they play on different AAU teams. And I don't know. I think it's just a change of, culture development, but it puzzles me to know you can have a whole team and 4 or 5 players can play on 4 or 5 different AAU teams where it's like you only communicate during the season.
Yeah, it is kind of odd. I at least see probably on the circuit teams, I probably see maybe at least 2 players on the same high school team. Yeah. Now there's an outlier here and there. Right. Like for example, if you're gonna focus in on Cathedral up here, Xavier Booker plays for George Hill, all Indy, and then you've got his teammates from Cathedral, Jake Davis and Darren Tibbs playing for Indiana Elite. So I think it just comes to fit. At the end of the day,
the kid from not Reed Shepard, or is it Reed Shepard, or is it that plays on one of the Indiana Elite teams? Is it Kentucky? The kid that Kentucky or Indiana has offered that's from
Travis Perry.
Travis Perry. He's from Western Kentucky, down in Eddyville, and he's playing on one of the Indiana Elite Indiana teams.
Yeah. Indiana Elite, it's kind of funny. It's like, especially with their 2024 team, like I want to say 70% of that team's not even from the state of Indiana. So it's kind of funny and ironic when you look at that.
Well, that just tells me it's becoming more about winning and showcasing that program, which is fine, than it is about being about what you're about. You know, Charlie, instead of being about Indiana Elite, now it's about, we got to put together an elite team and just call it Indiana Elite.
Well, Jim, that's always been the case. I mean, I shared with you, I played on the Orange County, California All-Stars. It was Doug Gottlieb. It was Tony Gonzalez, me, and several other people. And it was like, what are you doing on this team? Why? Right? I mean, and it's for exposure, for play, right? It's really, I think Kyle said the best is relationship. It's fit. And there's a balance to it that, you know, it's fair, but it's funny because, you know, those kids are not from Indiana. It's called Indiana Elite, but, you know, again, that's AAU, all about you. All about you. You better go out there and show up.
Ed's asking, does IU have camps for high school teams? They used to.
Mm-hmm.
I believe so.
They used to have team camps. I do not believe they currently have team camps right now. Yep. The only thing that I'm aware of is Mike Woodson having his summer camps like Bob Knight used to have that are coming up. Summer day camps. They're coming up in June. So you can look for that. But that's as far as I know that's going on that they have. It's kind of nice, I guess, but it's with all the recruiting you have to do.
Yeah,
it's kind of a waste of time to have a team camp when you're bringing in a team or something, as opposed to being able to just go out and see. You can go see an Indiana Elite team that has 5 guys there that you may want to look at, as opposed to one high school that's going to have 1 guy.
And I think that those camps used to be, just my perspective, it was a way for teams to come in from the region and can play and play in Assembly Hall, right? You get a chance to play tournament style. You play as a team. Again, this is, I think what's taken that away is more not only invite only like the EYBLs, the Adidas circuit, but even Paper Play Club is kind of taking that team travel, going to colleges away, where I hear now they may go to, say, University of Texas at Austin and play a weekend, with the high school team, right? Just to kind of get together. But it's not highlighted like it used to be, because I think AAU is so prominent and travel is so prominent that I know a lot of these kids scheduled that I train. I mean, they're just as booked up as I am as far as travel goes.
Let's see. Somebody asking, Ed again, asking, any of these kids playing on the AAU teams signed NIL deals? Not to my knowledge, but that doesn't mean anything. Unless they've signed with a team, I doubt that they have or made their decision. And I don't know that any of these guys have made decisions, Kyler. So therefore, I doubt any of them has an NIL deal. And not to my, most of these guys are still in high school anyway.
Yeah. No, not to my knowledge either. I don't think any of the guys that I've seen, at least, I've heard that they've signed an NIL deal. And now, of course, they play for the Adidas, team or the Nike team or whatever. So they're Adidas branded and get, shoes and stuff like that. But no, not like any big NIL deals that you'll see like for like Nigel Pack or something like that. Nothing crazy.
Charlie, how about that NIL, man? How well would you have done with NIL, being from Miami, people that you may know there? How cool will that have been for you to be able to take advantage of that? Yeah, I mean, don't tell it. You can tell it. Let's talk.
I know I would have gotten more than just a couple of CDs from Track Records off of what's that in what's the strip over there in Bloomington? It was the main street, Jim. I'm drawing a blank.
College, Walnut or College?
No, like downtown Bloomington area.
Oh, Kirkwood.
Kirkwood. I really got more than a meal or two. Put it that way. Yeah, man. No, that'd have been great because now a lot of people that that want to support you, that also want to see you, probably get a head start to your financial life as an adult, but probably put you in great situations, not just for the you need to get paid because they're selling your jersey at the student union. No, but like look at this as a long-term investment because. As we know, man, you're playing on these circuits, Kyle, you just said it. I'm giving you shoes today as Nike's giving shoes today because they want to sign those kids for shoe contracts tomorrow. That's the whole point. The whole point is to sign those kids so they can say, this kid's been with Nike ever since he's been 13, 14. That's the emphasis. The emphasis is signing guys when they get older. He's been a Nike guy, the Adidas guy, right? But putting yourself in that position to set yourself up for success long term, right? But no, it'd have been a heck of an opportunity for me, Jim. I knew it would.
Five Left said you could have gotten an earmuffs deal.
Probably not listen to him. Look like Barry White.
Cad Briggs, what do you think Coach Knight would have had to say about the NIL deals? Now, I know that what he had to say about them. That's not my question. I wonder how seriously he would have dealt with this.
You know what?
I don't think he would have liked it at all, obviously, but I wonder how he would have dealt with it.
I'm going to tell you something that I think is different. I think he would have been the main supporter of helping us get all we can get. I really do. Think about what he did when he went to Texas Tech. His first year, he told them, pay me $1. Pay me $1. Just give me a contract, and I'm going to make my money doing commercials, doing all this. And he did that. I feel Coach Knight, as philanthropic as he still is today, I think he did all he could to help us. I think it would have been one thing to kind of draw up, they don't deserve this or that, in front of the media. But I think behind closed doors, I think he'd have been the first person to say, hey, Charles is a great person to deal with, or, Mike Lewis is this, or I feel that in my heart.
I don't think he would have been against his, trying to help his own guys, especially just from that standpoint. But overall, I think he would have been just absolutely adamantly opposed to the NIL system. But with good reason. I understand because it's causing hell, let's be honest, because there is absolutely no way to regulate this. The toothpaste is gone. The NCAA waited way too long to start processes. You could have had some things in place and it gradually expanded them. But no, it's like you just jumped on the tube of toothpaste with both feet and it's squirted out, baby, and it's gone. And you're not getting it back. And that's the problem to me. There has been no gradual finding out along the way some problems. Oh, we got, let's go in this direction, whatever the case may be. It's just been boom, wide open, and gee whiz. And you're not going back, and they're not. And there's no way to regulate it. I don't care what they say. They can say whatever the hell they want. Tyler, it's like the players that you see playing out this summer. NIL people could be all over them and it'd be completely legal now. So it's just ridiculous to the way how it's gone 0 to 100, in my opinion. That's been the problem with it, but there's no controlling it. And I don't know how much of a problem it's really truly ever going to be in basketball now that it's wide open for everybody. yeah, you're going to have guys like that dude, John Ruiz down in Miami, who I'm sure you wish you were around back in the day, Charlie, who was handing out money like candy bars. But I don't think that that's going to happen. I mean, Indiana's going to be able to stay on par with whomever. Although you do see a guy like Oscar Speedway setting the bar kind of at looking at a potential $2 million deal to stay at Kentucky. That's different. To me, that's basically a semi-pro situation. If you're keeping a guy that could be in the NBA, yeah, it's kind of a semi-pro deal to me.
Yes. Yeah. And now that's where the top 3-4% now coming out of high school, it's if you're able to make that kind of money and develop in college, there's no rush to go professional because you already are making, as you said, semi-professional or rookie contract money. You can stay put, develop, and then the transfer portal is wide open, like you just said. It becomes a wild, wild west. Now it's the highest bidder.
And in Kyler, we saw, well, it was Adidas that was caught. I know that they weren't the only one, but it was the shoe companies that was, before this came about, funneling money to teams, to guys in various fashions. I don't know that that's happening anymore. Well, obviously, because they got caught, that put a stop to it. But now there's no need. They don't need to pay these guys because of the NIL. They're getting their money elsewhere. So now I don't know if that's helped or hurt the AAU circuit. I would think that it helps it, but what's your thoughts on that?
I mean, I guess it just kind of, with NIL now, it just kind of goes back to the way it was. I'm in my head, I'm kind of curious to see, when do these people that have the ability to pay NIL deals, when do they start negotiating with high school players like that? For example, look at, like, let's say Jalen Harrelson in a couple of years. Like, when does somebody come up to him and be like, hey man, like start negotiate, can't talk, with Jalen Harrelson, about potentially going to a certain school and things like that. I mean, people kind of forget at the end of the day, these guys are kids. So, I don't know how well it would be to negotiate with a high school player at that point, but I mean, you're going to start seeing that happen sooner than later.
I wonder when they're able to sign NIL deals for their future college. Once they turn 18, what stops them from, and their college basketball season has come to a conclusion? What's to stop them from talking about an NIL deal for their college if they're 18 and done with their season and, in essence, their eligibility? I wonder what there is. I'll have to look up to see if there is any law on the books. I think everything is so new that there's not, or rules within the IHSA or the NCAA. It's a lot of questions, just tons of questions. But Kyler, I appreciate you, man. What do you have coming up next?
So yeah, like I mentioned earlier, weekend off. Not much going on this weekend, and then the following weekend we've got the Memorial Day Running Slam, and then the Nike EYBL. Still trying to figure out logistics on which place I'm going to be. It's looking more like I'm going to try to go down to Louisville to see the EYBL again, see KJ Evans and all of those Nike players again, and just see what they're about. I don't know if it's a live period or not, but we will find that out shortly.
Looking forward to it, Charlie. I think this is you have to go still, right?
Yes, sir.
All right, brother. Looking forward to you getting out of school.
Yeah. We're talking a couple days away, man. Like more, 10+ days.
So a couple of weeks, we'll get to have you a little bit more frequently, and you'll be traveling a little bit more frequently at the same time.
Yes, sir. So yeah, it'll be coming live from somebody's hotel room.
Looking forward to it, man. Appreciate both you guys. Hope you had a great weekend and looking forward to a great week. Thank you both. Kyler Staley from thehoosier.com. Make sure you go there. He's got you updated on all the recruiting action that's going on from around the state and nationally. Thehoosier.com, Alex Staley or Kyler Staley. And then, of course, make sure you give Charlie Miller a follow. He's out and about, headed to Alaska and beyond.
That's
Man,
right.
enjoy that. That's got to get a hell of a trip. Getting to go to Alaska. I know you've been there once with the Alaska shootout, but very unique. Does the wife get to go on this trip?
No, they're going to meet me in Denver. So that's the third camp. They'll meet me in Denver. We'll spend about a week out in Denver after the camp. So
I'm going to meet you at one of these camps one of these days.
I love it, man. Let's set it up.
All right, brother. You have a great weekend.
All right, you too. Appreciate it.
Thank you very much. Hey, coming up next, Dustin Dopirak from the Bloomington Herald Times joins us. Stay tuned. We're back with it, brought to you by our good friends at Southern Stone Restaurant. I can't speak. Comfort food with a Southern fare, located, of course, at Patterson and Rogers in Bloomington, all a part of the WOW Club, which you can join from your Apple App Store or Google Play Store. Back with Dustin Dopirak right after this.
We'll be right back to the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios for more Indiana Sports Beat Radio with Jim Coyle, presented by Endeavor Hospitality Group and Andy Moore Honda of Bloomington.
Whether you're visiting Bloomington.
Hey, fellas.
Morning, Dustin.
Morning, John.
I think Jim went to grab some coffee.
Yeah, I figured that I look like a bathroom run to me. There was swiftness to that. So, we're technically on YouTube right now. I probably shouldn't have said that. Oh, well.
Yeah. People have said way worse. Yeah. So we're always, I don't know if you can see it on your end, but Jim and I can always see the top left, the live counter.
Yeah,
it may not show.
No, I know. I know that. I'm aware.
Some people do forget, and we do have to remind them because they'll want to say something that is better for off camera.
No, I know. I've been on the other end of that before.
That was a great catch, Dustin, but it was coffee, but that was a great catch.
So you were motoring. I was surprised.
I was trying to get out there and get back because it's always right at it.
The coffee is necessary.
But that was a great catch. Trust me, if I'll tell you, if you ever see me get up in the middle of you, as soon as you start to answer a question and then you see me get up, probably more likely.
Yeah. At least the microphone doesn't follow you to the bathroom.
Well, I know that Dustin gives nice full answers. So I'm like, okay, here's a shot. I got a shot.
Yeah, I can vamp at that point. For a while.
Let's see. Yeah, I was just talking about high school kids. Less than 6 months after the Supreme Court. In
you
January,
just did a piece with Zach on football, right?
Yeah. Yeah, we had Alan. We apparently, he's doing some.
Yeah,
I got him Thursday.
I saw that. I haven't gotten to read that yet. I saw that.
Yeah,
in my
I can babble about it if need be. But yeah,
well,
he was good. He was very Tom. So
here we go.
Honda certified pre-owned Accord, Civics, CRVs, HRVs, and pilots. See dealer for financing deals. Andy Moore Honda, Bloomington's #1 Honda dealer. Get more to your door with AndyMooreHonda.com.
Come see us at the all-new Andy Moore Honda, now in Bloomington.
This segment is brought to you by Remax Advanced Realty, Indy Home Pros team by Cheryl Sizemore. Now back to the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios for more Indiana Sports Beat Radio with Jim Coyle, presented by Endeavor Hospitality Group and Andy Moore Honda of Bloomington.
Welcome back. It is Monday, but it's a beautiful Monday, and we've got Dustin Dopirak from the Bloomington Herald-Times, so that makes it all the better. Brought to you by our good friends at Remax Realty. If you're in the market for a home in the Indianapolis area, you need Cheryl Sizemore and her 2 decades of experience. It could be the difference between you getting the home you want and not. Reach out to her, Cheryl at IndyHomePros.com. Please welcome Dustin Dopirak. How are you, sir? How was your weekend?
Doing good, Jim. Yeah, good weekend. So I
Yeah,
spent a lot of yesterday at Bart Kaufman Field. Went down there for the the mostly doubleheader. So hadn't been down to Bart Kaufman much this year, but got to take some of that in. Indiana took a loss in the second game, but big win in the first. So they're in better shape than I thought they would be after they started 2-7. So they go into their last weekend 10-11 in the league. So they're in decent shape. I think they could probably not need to win one at Iowa to get in the Big Ten tournament to be safe, but yeah, caught some baseball, did some work on Saturday, went down to Bloomington, was down in Bloomington Friday for a retirement party for the great Janice Rickard for Herald-Times fans, one of the person who's been keeping that place moving for like 30-something years. It was her retirement, so got to see a lot of the vets, a lot of the old folks from there. So that was a good time for sure.
The IU, if they had a doubleheader, that's from Saturday.
Suspended game from Saturday because they got about 2 innings in on Saturday and it rained and they weren't able to get that one in. So they played the rest of that and then they played the full Sunday game. And
I wish I would have caught. I wish I should have opened up the presser from Greg Campbell. I didn't do that, and I would have seen that to head out there. I spent a lazy Sunday, but Indiana baseball, they've made a comeback. Man, they were just stinking up the joint. I think at one point maybe they were 7-20 or something in the league, but now they are
it wasn't that bad.
Wasn't that? Well,
no,
I couldn't remember.
They were 2-7 in the league. They were 2-7 in the league. So they got swept by Rutgers in week 3. They had dropped 2 of 3 to Northwestern and who was it? Whoever they played in between.
Michigan.
No, they took 2 or 3 out of Michigan last week.
Yeah. Got it. Yeah.
So they've taken 4 of their last, or they've taken their last 4 series. So they've taken 2 out of 3 in their last 4 series. So
which is a hell of a thing to do. Which is a hell of a thing to accomplish after the season that they had.
Yeah, no, considering. I mean, the issue is they still don't have any pitching. I mean, they're just getting by without it. And part of the reason, I mean, their offense is really good. I mean, it's not Schwarber Travis good, but it's really good. I mean, there's no.
Well, you've got a freshman that's setting a home run record, man.
Carter Matheson's a beast, man. He hit one. He hit one yesterday. That was just a bomb down the right field line, and he's like 6'3", 210, every bit of it muscle. Like you look at he's got a big league body. He's probably a big league dude. So I'm gonna be writing about him this week. And I talked to Jeff Mercer about him a little bit yesterday. He's like, there's no limit on him. Is the best way he put it. He said,
how long are they going to be able to keep him?
3 years, because they're allowed to have him for 3 years. So, yeah. Basically, and MLB draft rule, as I understand it, is still your intent. Like once you sign on for, college ball, you're there. Like they can't draft you again until after your.
I did not know that. Did not know that. That's a good rule for them to have.
Yeah, no, it works out well for baseball. I mean, again, it works out well for them. I mean, baseball's obviously an entirely different animal from what we think of with basketball, what we think of with football. It seems more fair on one level because it's like, okay, you either make this choice, you're either, you're draftable in high school and you get to get picked and get your offer and make your decision. You don't have to take it. You get to look at what they're offering you and say, do I want to get into pro ball now or don't I? And you get that offer after you've already committed to your college, basically. And so like after you already know where you're going, know what you're doing, you don't have to declare. You get picked and then you're like, okay, do I want to do this or not? Now, obviously they can offer you before they draft you to have a sense of whether or not you'll sign. They'll call you up and say, okay, if we pick you in this round, then we give you this money. Are you going to sign or not? And they might skip you if you say, no, I'm not going to do it. But obviously once you just say, no, I'm not, or you're not drafted, then you're going to play college ball and you're there for 3 years. If you play Division I, if you play at a 4-year, but you're then eligible. I think you're eligible every year after JUCO if you go to JUCO. And obviously a lot of guys do. I mean, JUCO baseball is a pretty, powerful thing. But you're usually there for 3 years, and then after that, now when you get drafted after your junior year, you better go, because if you wait until your senior year, now you got some leverage, but they're going to just gut you senior year. I mean, if you come out after senior year, your bonus is nothing. Like, it's embarrassing the kind of bonuses they give out to seniors. It's just like $5,000 when, like first round picks get multiple million. You get a $5,000 bonus, and like, wages less than I make to play minor league baseball. So it's a little bit of an exploitive system. But ultimately, to answer your question, Carter Matheson's got 2 more years at Indiana. That's the short answer to what you just asked.
So we could see, I don't know does Schwarber have the home run record, I wonder, for Indiana?
No, because you got to remember, they changed bats a couple years before Schwarber. So remember, if you remember old college baseball, it was nuts. It was crazy. I mean, it used to be, like, I'm trying to remember the game. I think it was like 1998, 1999 College World Series. I think it was USC and Stanford were like 24. It was like 18-16 in the final. I mean, it used to be nuts, with metal bats, and they didn't used to have any regulation on that. So dudes used to hit just bombs, just crazy freaking numbers. I mean, I don't know. I mean, the record's probably like 30 in a year. And so, like, Schwarber got there a couple years after they got the new bats. So, I mean, I think his height was like 18. And at that point, that's a big number. I mean, he was like top 5 in college baseball with that. But like that, the numbers for home runs fell dramatically because of that. And so, but Indiana, even when Indiana was bad, I mean, and also the games, there didn't used to be a games limit. Whereas like now it's 54. And it used to
Indiana as a team, though, I believe set the home run record just a couple of years ago.
That's possible. That's possible.
They were up over 100. I remember. Again, I don't know if they were leading the country in home runs.
There's a good chance they were leading the country and didn't break their own record, because again, it was a different universe.
Right, I get you.
Until about 2000, and then 2010-11, they had another bat change, and that was pretty drastic. They wanted it to perform like wood, and it mostly does. And
why not go to wooden bats?
You know what? A big part of it is supply. Or
expense too, because wooden bats break.
Wooden bats break. I mean, so obviously the metal is kind of a one-time thing, but it's expense. Like, I mean, I did a piece on that once, just to basically when they went to these bats, I was just like, why not just go straight to wood? And the best argument I got, like, I was talking to kind of sporting goods sort of like a lobbyist, honestly, which I didn't know they existed, but they do. And his sort of thing was like, his first thing was, well, like we basically is like trying to say like we want to sell metal bats, but another issue is the amount of lumber that it costs that you're talking about. Like, I mean, you got to think about, like, if you go all the way to wood, like, you're cutting down a lot of trees, and then you're taking lesser quality wood. It's like the major leaguers get the best quality wood, and then it goes down a notch, and then down a notch. And if you have all of college baseball go to wood bats, that is a massive amount of wood, and you're digging into stuff that's lower quality. And so, and so again, like, you got to clear out a lot, so like you forget just, it is at this point a relatively
lot of trees, man. A lot of trees. It's a lot of trees.
It's a lot of trees. You're going to get low quality wood. It's going to break. You're going to have to buy a bunch of them. You're going to have to dig about it even further. And
because I believe that Louisville Sluggers are made out of ash. But there are a lot more bat makers now. It used to be that Louisville Slugger was the bat of NL. What's their still the bat? Hey man, he's protecting you.
Thoughts. Let me go out here.
He's not a Louisville Slugger fan.
She's not. She's got major issues with it. Actually, doesn't feel good about their quality. But yeah, no. It's a. But yeah. I mean, Easton obviously got involved, and then a whole bunch of like DeMarini and all of those. It became obviously a growth industry, I think, in the 80s and 90s. But no, David, really, seriously. I mean, that is what I was told, at least by the people who.
Making them to keep up. I mean, if you stop and think about the amount that you would have to make to keep up with all those college teams, that's a lot of freaking bats, man.
It is. And also, don't forget, we don't just use lumber for bats. I mean, like, anybody who's
we just had a lumber shortage.
Massive. My dad does work. My dad's retired, and he does work for Habitat for Humanity now. Does a lot of that. Like, he's big into that stuff. they weren't doing anything for like 7-8 months because of lumber shortage, because basically it costs so much to buy lumber that, like, I mean, the whole point of that program is to make it so like the people can afford it at cost. Basically, like whatever like Habitat puts in, that's what that family has to pay, and that's a lot less than you would have to buy on the open market. But like the lumber costs were so high that it was getting close to what you'd have to buy for, had to spend for a house on the regular market. So it was almost like pointless for them to build these houses for Habitat, because they had to invest that much money in lumber. So yeah, I mean, you're still, I mean, I imagine it's lesser. I imagine it's come down some, but I mean, think about that. Imagine exacerbating that for baseball bats. I mean, again, like that's not all we use wood for. You think about what goes into building a house. It's massive. So if you take a sizable amount of that market, like a lot more than what you're doing now, and put it into wooden bats, you're taking a lot out of stuff that you can use for other things that are frankly more important.
Yeah. How about who's your baseball team, by the way?
What's that?
Are you a Pittsburgh fan, I assume?
I mean, I call myself, I mean, I was basically, in the sense, I mean, obviously I covered them and I covered the Steelers. So being a fan for me is an odd thing to say anymore, just because I covered them. And so, like, I know still some of those guys and have written about them, and it feels like unprofessional to talk about them as though I'm a fan. Like, I wrote a piece on Brian Hayes when he was at Indianapolis. Basically, even this was after I left the Pirates beat. He was playing in Indy, and when I was at the Athletic, basically I said, connected with the guys that I knew in Pittsburgh that were on our Pittsburgh site there, and said, hey, what would you like me to do since I'm here? Like, you guys know me. Indians are here. I can write about some stuff. And I did a Brian Hayes feature. And so, like, I find it odd to call myself a fan when I've covered these guys. And so, like, that's kind of an awkward thing. But bottom line, that's who I grew up rooting for. Yeah. I was a huge Pirates fan growing up, and I'm still, 1992 absolutely broke my heart in Francisco Cabrera, and then 20 years of losing after that. And so I was still I could still call myself openly a fan in 2013 to 15 when they made the playoffs back, but then they've fallen back to being the Pirates that we have known for the last 20 years.
What are you talking about? I'm a Reds fan, man.
And you lost on a no-hitter yesterday. That's rough.
The Reds throw a no-hitter and a low. I mean, that's almost impossible to do.
It's hard to do. Yeah, it's not easy. No.
And you got to feel for Hunter Green, the guy. He pitches 7 1/3 of no-hit baseball, and his team can't get him a stinking run. So I don't know what the score was when he left.
It was 0-0.
Yeah, so he doesn't get, at least he doesn't get the loss. Can you imagine?
His runners. He walked the 2 guys.
Oh, so he did, but I didn't realize that. Yeah. So you throw a no-hitter. How many times has that happened in baseball history?
I want to say yesterday they said it was 6.
6 times, yeah.
Yeah, I vividly remember in 1990, Andy Hawkins of the Yankees had one, because there was a stretch of like one weekend. It might have been like even like 36 hours in which this happened. Like Dave Stewart had a no-hitter, Fernando Valenzuela had a no-hitter, and then Andy Hawkins had a no-hitter and lost. And this was in like a weekend, I think. I want to say it was 1990. But that was pretty wild. Like, that was a pretty wild stretch. But I think it was a similar deal where he walked a couple guys. He was a little bit wild. In this case, Green, I think, walked 2 guys, somebody else walked a guy, and then they had an RBI ground out. I think they like the Pirates hit into what could have been a double play to get out of the inning, but the guy beat the relay throw and the run scored. So,
how about these streaks? Start out 3 22. I think it was actually 3 23 that they got to. 99 innings without a lead at the end of an inning. That's a lot of innings. And then 54 innings without a lead of any kind. An 11-game losing streak, then followed by a 9-game losing streak. Gee whiz. 23 injured list stints. That's my team, baby.
It's rough.
But they've kind of made a run. What are the stinking standings right now? It was kind of funny, because they won 3 out of 4 there for a minute.
I think they beat the Pirates.
And the funny thing is, they started out 3 23 out of the season. Well, 2 of those wins came in the first series of the year against the reigning World Series champion Atlanta Braves.
Yeah, baseball don't make sense all the time.
No,
baseball mostly doesn't. Maybe It ends up at the end of the year when you add them all up, it makes sense. But in a given weekend, you might see something that makes no sense.
Yeah, the Reds are still the worst team in baseball with only 9 wins, and they are letting that become further and further as the Rockies are 17 wins in the bottom. How about the West? West is a tough division. Their last place team is 500. The Rockies 17-17, and then everybody above them has a winning record. That's damn near impossible when you're in a division.
It won't stay that way, but
no.
It is impossible. You can't pull that off over the course of a whole year because you play each other too much. But yeah, no, I mean, and that's going to mean, like, obviously last year it was nuts with the Giants and the Dodgers going at it, each winning more than 100. And San Diego being pretty good until they fell off the face of the earth down the stretch. But that's still a really talented team. And, everybody kind of predicted that San Francisco was going to fall off. I'm not sure that they are. And the Dodgers are loaded. So, I mean, the Dodgers should win the division every year forever, but, probably won't.
Padres tied with them, man, right now.
It's ridiculously talented. I mean, they were in it last year and then just fell off the face. But I mean, they've got, Tatis might be, is in that short list conversation for best player in baseball. You got Machado right next to him, Hosmer, and some other dudes. I mean, I'm trying to think of even who they have, but they've got pitching now. They had an immense amount of talent. The fact that they missed the playoffs last year was embarrassing. So, like, they should be there.
It's fun just saying Padres that are up there,
it
man.
Really is.
I say that, and there's only one name you ever think of when you say the Padres. Poor guy. I may feel sorrier for him than anyone in sports because it was Walter Payton, but he ended up getting a Super Bowl ring after all those fruitless years. But Tony Gwynn played on just a crap team for almost his entire career and was one of the best players in the history of the game.
Oh yeah, no, Tony was unbelievable. Like, it's still one of those things where you look back at, like, random numbers will come out about Tony Gwynn that you're like, this is insane. It's like he could have gone hitless for his next 1,000 at bats and still been a 300 hitter. Like, it was that, like, it's just absurd numbers like that. You're like, you got to be kidding me. And it's like, there's not an analog to him, and nobody even tries to play like him anymore because it's like, the game has moved past it in a way.
And didn't cheat, didn't use steroids, didn't whatever. He was just
did get out of shape.
But he was
time.
But he was a hitting machine, baby.
Baseball bat. Just do absolutely whatever he wanted. It was freaky. I mean, like, just the way that he could carve out a single to left was, like, incredible. Just pitches he could get to, ways he could hit the ball. Absolutely special baseball player. And just he was. I mean, he was like it was magic to watch.
The Mets.
He had one really good team in '98, and then he ran it up to against the best Yankee team I've seen in my lifetime. So, which says something. And they go out 4-0. But yeah, that's the best team he got to play on, was the one that had to face that '98 Yankee team.
Then the Mets in first place. Like, what in the hell's going on in the world?
They got dudes, man. They got Max
Kevin Brockway. That's Kevin Brockway's team.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, they should be good.
The Yankees,
there's no reason the Mets should be terrible.
The Yankees are running away with baseball at 25-9. Far and away the best record, of course, as they should. The Minnesota Twins in the Central Division. I would have thought that the White Sox, I could list a ton
White Sox having a tough year. White Sox are having a tough start. Now, Minnesota went out and got Correa, and they got some dudes, and I bet Dustin's hurt, which is an issue.
Then the cheating Astros.
Well, they still got dudes.
I wonder if they're still cheating.
They probably figured out a way to do it. But
what's up with your week, man?
Yeah, like I said, we I don't know. I'm going to write about Matheson this week and see where it goes. We got a piece out today on Tom Allen. Zach and I got some time to sit down with him. I think he's going to do a few of these with us media types. Now that spring's over and they've got a little bit of a gap, I guess, between done with graduation and then camps really pick up in June. So I think he's going to take some time to do some media meeting while they're in the middle of recruiting. Really ran the gamut, talked about we just kind of sort of reassessed didn't really go over the season, but more so said, hey, basically, how are you processing this? How are you reacting to this? And how are you trying to change? And basically, or what are you trying to change? I mean, where do you go from here? And obviously, especially with him being a guy that's so big into conviction and big into these sort of core values. And, talked about accountability, really felt like there was that it lacked this year, and felt like there were some things he had to change in that regard. Talked about coaching, talked about how he wants to run the defense different. Now it's just going to be his again. And, decisions he made, decisions he didn't make, recruiting, where to go from there. So really pushed that one. And obviously, so we've hit on football. So I don't know if we're going to go back to that well, but I don't know, try to put something else together this week, but we'll have some baseball to be writing about, and we'll be looking at some other stuff. And obviously we tracking Trace Jackson Davis. I believe the combine starts today, if I'm not mistaken. So see how he does and see what that means for his future and for Indiana's future.
Absolutely. Make sure you read that piece on Tom Allen in the Star. I'll be a subscriber. I am. I'm looking forward to reading it here when I get the chance. Yeah, he's going to be with us. John, do you know the date? Do you remember the date?
Oh, man.
I
think it's sometime this week. I don't know for sure, but I think it's this week.
Probably would be good to find out if it's that soon.
I think I'm sure he has a calendar. He knows when he's supposed to call Tom.
Well, yes, but we'll check that. But right, yeah, he's going to be with us as well. So yeah, he's getting out and doing that. But get out and make sure you read that.
This week he's doing like the car wash of the Indiana Beat Media. So
I like that, the car wash. But I'll make sure to read that. Thanks a lot, brother. Appreciate you. Look forward to doing it again next week.
Sounds good. Thanks for having me, Jim.
Thank you, Dustin Dopirak. Make sure you give him a follow and read everything he has in the Bloomington Herald Times, as well as the Indy Star in there. But we're back with more Indiana Sports Beat, brought to you by our good friends at Remax Realty. If you're in the market for a home in the Indianapolis area, you need Cheryl Sizemore and her 2 decades of experience, because that could be the difference in you getting the home you want and not. Back with more Indiana Sports Beat Radio right after this.
We'll be right back to the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios for more Indiana Sports Beat Radio with Jim Coyle, presented by Endeavor Hospitality Group and Andy Moore Honda of Bloomington.
Andy Moore.
All right, this will be a short segment coming up. And yeah, I don't know who you got to get in contact with for Tom Allen, but I do think it's this week. So I would reach out to whoever it is you need to ask. And it could be tomorrow or Wednesday, if I'm not mistaken, but I can't say for sure.
I've got it in my phone, so I'm going to have to look here.
By the way, I took a commercial inventory earlier, and I'll send you over what we got right now, and then what you may want to add or switch or all that good stuff.
Well, I'm going to need to make some new ones.
Yeah.
I want to eliminate
what our numbers.
I want to eliminate my voice from some of them. And I talked to a lady over the weekend with Endeavor. I said, I got to get, and so she can do some.
Let me do some. I don't know why you don't let me do more.
You can do all you want.
I'll definitely help you out with those.
Well, that's why I need this to see what I've got and all that. We probably need a new Andy Moore commercial.
Yep, that's probably run its course. There's some it's kind of up to you in terms of if you want to update them. Some of them are just really old, and I think you should change regardless of. I don't know how to explain it. Like the Bubba's 33, that's a really old commercial. Like you recorded that before I was even with you.
What's that?
The Reynolds one's fine because you have, I think it's one of their people doing it. So
no, that's probably Justin. That's Justin.
Who does the Reynolds one?
Yeah. That's my first producer.
So that's a really old commercial too, then?
Yeah.
Your Remax one is really good. So I don't really think that needs to be changed. What else? The Rivals one is new. The one that I did a few months ago, whatever it was. And then if you want to do one for Never Lose Hoop and the golf club at Eagle Point, or I remember you were doing one for them, and that kind of fell through for a little bit. But if you want
golf club at Eagle Point does not have a new one.
You did one, but you were waiting for approval for it, and they never got back to you. It was that was a real weird situation.
So do we have one that so will you have one that's recorded?
Yeah, I sent it. You can check just search GSEP.
Just go with it. Whatever. Just go with it.
Okay. Well, we'll put that in there, and if you want to do a never lose hoop, then you can do that too.
Well, tell me after the show all that.
Okay. Here we go. This will be a short segment, like I said.
298-0961. Cheryl Sizemore from Remax Advanced Realty. Let Cheryl Sizemore get you in the home you want today. Cheryl at IndyHomePros.com.
This segment is brought to you by K-Bello. Now back to the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios for more Indiana Sports Beat Radio with Jim Coyle, presented by Endeavor Hospitality Group and Andy Moore Honda of Bloomington.
Welcome back to Indiana Sports Beat Radio, coming to you on this Monday from the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios. It looks to be an absolutely gorgeous day out there. I hope you're going to get out and be able to enjoy it. I hope you were able to enjoy your weekend and see what's happening now. But yeah, let's see. Pete just said that. What was it? Reminded me about the Mavs knocking off Phoenix. You pull this up. Oh, mercy. There we go. Luka Doncic. How about Luka Doncic? Last season it was Milwaukee and Phoenix, and everybody thought it was going to be that again. But guess what? Not going to happen. They both just lost Game 7 of the series yesterday. And so Milwaukee losing, Phoenix losing. And that Phoenix series was a funky series. I talked about it all week. And then yesterday, Boston just annihilated. Got it done. Stunning Game 7s. That was some fun stuff. If you didn't get to watch it, you missed out. The conference finals schedules are set now. Game 1, Miami and Boston. And of course the Mavs and Golden State, as Dallas routed the Suns by 33 in Game 7. How can there a Game 7? I've talked about this week with these point swings. Mainly, I talked about the Golden State series and Memphis that saw a 90-point swing. And then here in Game 7, Phoenix gets routed by 33 points in a Game 7. How in the hell is that possible? I don't get it. It makes no sense to me. But as Tim pointed out, what it does is provide a potential of Juwan Morgan and was it Romeo? Is that who he's playing? I forget who are they playing? Boston now. So we'll see. But they both have to hit the floor anyway. Not sure that that's going to happen. But up next is Jim Reamer. We'll talk more about it. Talk more about what happened over the weekend. What's Drew Brees going to do? He was undecided about his future after one season at NBC. That's weird. Usually that lasts a while. Maybe he's going to the booth. Who knows? How was Jim Reamer's weekend? We'll find that out as well. But we'll look forward to these NBA. This ought to be a fun. The NBA is getting fun now. But like I said, it's not fun to have a 33-point game 7. I don't. That's ridiculous to me. That's crazy. We got plenty more coming up here on Indiana Sports Beat. Maybe we'll even talk some American Idol. Anyone watch American? Am I the only person that still watches American Idol? I don't know why I do. It's just something I've always watched, and I still do. I did pick the top 3 last night. I'll give you that. I nailed the top 3. Was correct. So congratulations to me. I wish I should have bet on that. We got lots more Indiana Sports Beat Radio coming up here from the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios, brought to you by our good friends at Cabello Italian Restaurant, located right on the square in Bloomington, right in the downtown. You can visit Cabello to experience the taste and traditions of the Italian heritage right here in Southern Indiana. Jim Reamer joins us from Courtside, Indiana up next. Back with him right after this.
We'll be right back to the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios for more Indiana Sports Beat Radio with Jim Coyle, presented by Endeavor Hospitality Group and Andy Moore Honda of Bloomington.
Whether you're visiting.
Pete says he's taking your man card, Jim, for watching American Idol.
Nah. Why?
Yeah,
it's
there's
the
nothing wrong
future.
with those shows.
It's the future of America's singing stars, man.
One thing I
Idol's,
don't like about it is that
American Idol's produced more stars than anything. I mean,
Yes.
they've got so many third place people that are stars.
Well, Chris Daughtry, I mean, he was like 7th place.
No, he was like, well, he got eliminated.
That's what I'm
Which
saying.
was
He didn't
much-
make it. He wasn't in the finals, and look what happened in his career.
Elena, whatever, isn't she?
Lauren Elena.
There's a bunch of country stars that did not win.
Who would you say is the most successful American Idol winner of all time?
Kelly Clarkson.
It's easy. No,
Kelly Clarkson or Carrie Underwood?
Carrie
I would say
Underwood.
Carrie Underwood.
Oh, was she
Carrie
Underwood?
Underwood. Oh my God, Carrie Underwood. She sold 66 million albums.
Yeah, but
Kelly Clarkson was the OG though. She was the very first
Kelly-
winner.
and she has her own little production company.
I wonder how many she sold. She may be up there too.
She has a show, right? A daytime show
Yeah,
now.
she's her own deal. She's like
She's
not
like
the same
next
genre, but she's Martha. Yeah, Martha Stewart is where I was going with that.
There you go.
Kelly Clarkson is the most down to earth. He seems like somebody you could just walk up to that you've known forever. Okay, Carrie Underwood. That's wrong.
What
I
is
just
this?
saw.
We can
just
talk
said-
more. We can talk more NBA when we come out of break. There wasn't a whole lot. I did watch some younger kids though play.
And Jennifer says she has a show with Snoop Dogg on NBC.
That's right, Americans. That's right, she does. American Song something.
DOGG.
All right, here we go.
It's the Certified Dream Deal Sales Event. Get 0.99% APR financing for well-qualified buyers on all 2017 through 2021 Honda Certified Pre-Owned Accords, Civics, CRVs, HRVs, and Pilots. See dealer for financing deals. Andy Moore Honda, Bloomington's #1 Honda dealer. Get more to your door with AndyMooreHonda.com.
Come see us at the all-new Andy Moore Honda, now in Bloomington.
This segment is brought to you by Feast Market and Cellar. Now back to the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios for more Indiana Sports Beat Radio with Jim Coyle, presented by Endeavor Hospitality Group and Andy Moore Honda of Bloomington.
Welcome back. It is Monday. I can't change it for you. But it's a beautiful Monday. And so there's a good start to that. Jim Reamer joins us. How was your weekend?
Not bad. Well, we played this weekend and got a chance to watch some younger guys play. So that was good. It's never bad when you get to spend a weekend in the gym, I guess.
Yeah. Every weekend in the summertime, that gets a little old.
It's not every weekend, but it is close. It's 3 weekends. It's 3 weekends a month, basically.
I was trying to figure out who's won them or who's had the most albums from American Idol, if it was Kelly Clarkson or Carrie Underwood. Pete said he's taking my man card away because I watch American Idol. Still watch it. I enjoy it. It's good. It's good. I'll take it, man. Nope. It's one of my. All my series are going away. Better Call Saul is ending.
Yeah.
It seems like every 4 years I lose the 2 series that I'm watching.
Like when I lost Friends and Frasier in like the same year.
Well, dude, but that was like 25 years ago.
It wasn't that long ago. It was.
I've lost so many series since then that I'll get into Justified or Hell on Wheels. There were so many Breaking Bad. Then Better Call Saul comes after that, and now it's ending. Gee whiz!
Jim, I've got the top 3 most successful American Idol contestants based on net worth. Who do you think they are?
Carrie Underwood, Kelly Clarkson, and Chris Daughtry.
So number 3 is Adam Lambert, $30 million. Kelly Clarkson is number 2, $45 million. And with a whopping $140 million is Carrie Underwood.
Yeah.
Is this just music? Is this just the musical side or the whole?
This is their overall net worth from what I
Carrie Underwood. Carrie Underwood is far and away the most successful. Dude, she's sold 66 million records. She's got she's been more successful. Although Kelly Clarkson was extremely successful, is extremely successful. She's still killing it with music, and she's got a Las Vegas deal going on. She's just major big time.
And you mentioned Chris Daughtry. He sits at 7th, worth $8 million.
What about the dude that's the Queen guy? Adam
Lambert.
Did you say it was the 3rd?
Yep.
So he was the 3rd. Oh, what about the girl that won the Oscar?
Jennifer Hudson, maybe?
Yeah.
She's 4th.
There you go. See? She finished like 3rd or something.
Let's see.
See, the funny thing is, that other show, The Voice, it gets higher ratings for whatever reason, but it does not produce. I'm like, who the hell from The Voice is a star? Can you quickly name anybody?
That's a good question. I can picture people in my head, but I don't.
But you can name 10 right off the bat from American Idol. Boom, 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 boom.
Because here's the thing. I think even though The Voice is popular now, and then obviously we can get off this topic. I don't think Reamer wants to talk about this. But at its peak, American Idol was watched by every household in America, it felt like. I don't think The Voice will ever get to that point.
Say it again.
Say what I said. You didn't hear me?
No, I did not.
I said The Voice, even though it's more popular right now, when American Idol was at its peak, it seemed like every household in America was watching that reality singing show. You have so many copycats nowadays. Nothing will ever compare to what American Idol was when it was at its peak. In my opinion.
Probably. It was the first, man. And the good. So, how about the Grand Prix this weekend? Did you see any of that? Were you just in the gym all weekend, Reamer?
In the gym. Two things that don't interest me much: reality TV and racing.
You got to get a life, man.
No, I don't watch much TV. Most of what I watch is actually what shows up on the streamers. So that is Better Call Saul. I'm about I'm midway, or I think I'm just now starting season 5. So that just hit
season 4. I think this is only the 4th and final season.
No,
is it 5?
I think what you're watching each week is season 6.
Oh,
and what's on the streaming service?
So you're a year behind.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, you better catch up, man. It's about to end, and you're going to hear about it before.
Oh no, unless you're gonna. No, right now you're on. Yeah, right now you're on season 6. Season 5 is on the streamers. So, and I honestly can't remember if I've seen all of season 5 yet or not. Sharing my Netflix account now, so I don't know if my previously watched is already screwed up or not. So we'll see.
Well, also going on in Indianapolis over the weekend was the Indy Grand Prix race at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, which turned out to be a wild one because it rained, and they don't stop in the rain. You've got rain tires that they have to go to, and it was a wild finish, man. It was definitely cool to watch. Wild finish, the rain coming down. Colton Huerta wins it. But yeah, it was fun to watch. I don't know that I would have wanted to be there because of the rain, but it was certainly fun to watch on TV, especially when they keep going in the rain like that. Those guys aren't letting up, man.
How long was it raining Saturday?
It didn't really start raining until toward the end, I think.
We had 3 games from the 11:50 mark until the 5:30 mark. So we were in the gym from basically 11 a.m. to 7 p.m. Plus or minus minus maybe what somebody did if they left to go grab a quick bite in between our second and third games. But it's a good event. Adidas May Classic is still a good event. It's not what it used to be when it was actually an Adidas stop. Mostly those stops now are just during the open periods in April and July, maybe Memorial Day weekend. Every so often, one of them plants one on Memorial Day weekend. But it's still a good regional event. There were some decent out-of-state teams, but not what it used to be when a lot of it was held at North Central, and there were some great games.
Man, Colton Huerta, I don't know how in the world, but he set a fastest lap of average of 122 miles an hour average on that road course, which that blows my mind because that's an average speed on a road course, which has just one straightaway, I think, or maybe they use both somewhat. But I was wondering how fast they were going. But man, that means they're getting up to 150, 60 at sometimes on that road course. That's amazing to me. Have you been to the Indianapolis 500 or the Speedway?
No. Grew up spending a good portion of my life on 16th Street. Never been to the track to watch an event. I would probably enjoy going to the Brickyard.
Oh, I'm definitely going to be doing. Especially they've changed that now to the road course.
Really?
Because NASCAR there was just not fun.
Yeah.
That's a great track, but there's no banking at the IMS. It's in about 9 degrees in the corners where that's the same size as say Talladega, except for Talladega is what's called a
tight oval.
Gosh, the shape of it. I'm losing my train of thought. It's not an oval. It's a D shape. It's more of I forget what the term is, but anyway, but the banking is like 28 degrees in the corners. So they don't lift. There's just no lifting. You don't lift at all at that track. And so it's a different type of racing than it was in Indianapolis. And it just wasn't that good for NASCAR. Well, now they've gone to the road course and it's a lot more fun. And as a matter of fact, last year, Chase Briscoe should have won that thing from Mitchell. And that would have been his first NASCAR win of ever, which would have been incredible. He has gotten that win since then at Phoenix, but it'd be interesting to see how he does. But the road course makes it a heck of a lot more exciting. So it's definitely going to be worth going out to. I will definitely be there. As a matter of fact, I'm thinking about doing my show out there for Indianapolis Indy week. So we'll see about that as well.
More passing, the better. That's what we want. More passing.
Exactly. That's the one thing different about IndyCar and say F1 versus NASCAR is those guys can kind of they can beat and bang a little bit, and that has changed drastically because NASCAR is now going to this basically a fiberglass body, a unibody, as opposed to it was sheet metal before. And if they bumped one time, they knocked those fender wells in, and it was you're going to get a flat. It's going to cut the tire. Now that doesn't happen, which I do prefer because it's so stupid just to have a fender well get knocked in and have a flat go down, which can change everything. But looking forward to going up there for Indy for and doing the show from there.
I think if I've been coaching the summer stuff since '91. So since '92, I've only been in town Memorial Day weekend twice. We've played almost every year, and one of them was COVID. So I've only been in town once, and really, the race got moved in 2020 to a different time zone, to a different time, different part of the year. So I've not really ever been in town for the 500 since I was a teenager.
Right.
Because there's just big events Memorial Day weekend, and it's too good of an opportunity to finish the spring heading into June, especially now with school kids or with the kids playing with their school teams in June. So we've just always maintained that Memorial Day weekend is a pretty big weekend.
Yeah, and watching the race, there's a highlight being played right now. It's wild because they're coming down the front straightaway backwards.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah.
And they don't take, which would be turn 4. They're coming into what would be turn 4. They don't take turn 4. They turn off just before that onto the course. So it's wild and very fun and fast. So I love motorsports of all kinds. It's just fun to watch. And that Grand Prix was a great race. And Indianapolis I was thinking yesterday, Indianapolis has got to be the sports capital of the world.
Feels that way sometimes.
Well, they're known as the racing capital of the world.
The amateur sports capital of the world.
You've got Indianapolis Motor Speedway, which has the Indy 500, the Brickyard 400. You've got an F1 Grand Prix race there as well. So that's about as solid as it gets. Then you've got an entire month of Indy going on. No place else has that. And now you add in, as you said, the amateur sports. The NCAA is housed here. The Pan American Games are housed here. USA Gymnastics, I believe, is housed here. I think USA Swimming is housed here. There are and so many. There's probably more AAU basketball that goes on here than any place else as well.
At least in the Midwest, certainly in the Midwest.
Yeah, and I'm probably missing some stuff. So there's just no way that Indianapolis is not the sports capital. That's not even including the fact that, they do have the Pacers. They do have the Colts. They have a AAA baseball team as well. So
and a great
they've
venue.
got sports covered. And it is probably the greatest town to host a sporting event, period, of any kind, whether it's basketball, football, it doesn't matter what it is. It's the best. And so to me, it is without question the sports capital of the world.
I mean, nothing else. They're able to sell the settings of everything being walkable from downtown, and all these venues are so tightly packed together. And, even the hotel scene has grown the last decade. Obviously, the J-Dub being the crown jewel and the most recent one, at least of the big names. It's wonderful down there. I love it down there during the NFL Combine. I know a couple of guys who are agents, and it's interesting to be down there and listen to some of the conversations they have. And anytime they have an NCAA week here, whether it's the first 2 rounds or whether it's a regional, and certainly if it's a Final Four, it's flooded with college coaches and a lot of those guys I met when they were at IU. The IU manager mafia, so to speak, that many of them have grown into coaching roles, and those guys all come to town and have a pretty good time. They always kind of get together.
And it's funny you say that because I've got a guy I'm trying to. It's damn near impossible to track down where all the managers are. I'd like to go back. I mean, I'm talking about go back into the 80s. Maybe the 70s, and track them all. I was with J.C. Halls the other day, and he was telling me, "Oh, this so-and-so guy, yeah, he used to be a manager." Or, no, he wasn't even a manager here. He was like video coordinator or something for Tom Crean, and he's in coaching someplace doing it. But he wasn't even a manager. But the managers, the long list of Indiana managers, I would love to be able to track down and tell that story because it's pretty mind-boggling. I mean, whether it's LJ Wright, who I went to high school with, who is the director of men's championships for all men's championships for the NCAA, or if it's Lawrence Frank, who went on to become an NBA head coach and NBA executive. It's the stories are mind-boggling.
And and some of the guys that Gonzalez is the head coach at UNC. Well, there's the Davis stuff too. There's a couple of them that were there during the Davis years that have gone on to have a good coaching career as well. So, but yeah, Knight's managerial coaching tree is tremendous, and it's continued on through all the coaches. It's just a big deal. It's a process to be a manager at Indiana. At other schools, it's not. At other schools, they have to actually advertise, and try to get people to do it.
It's very difficult to become.
Very formal. Yeah, it's very formal.
It is very difficult to become a basketball manager at Indiana. It's like getting into the Kelly School. It's like getting into one of Indiana's tough schools to get into, and that's not a joke.
You're interviewed.
You have to come with some stout stuff behind you, some recommendations, letters. You got to know somebody.
Yeah, it's a process. It's definitely a process. In a lot of places, it's not.
Tim reminds us, don't forget the U.S. Nationals drag racing in Speed, Indiana, and the practice starting tomorrow. All kinds of stuff. Ross grew up around racing as a kid. His neighbor was a racer, so we'll talk more about that. But we'll also talk about what Jim saw over the weekend on the basketball court. Listening to Indiana Sports Beat Radio, coming to you from the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios, brought to you by our good friends at Feast Market Cellar. Feast Market Cellar, located next door to Southern Stone Restaurant on Patterson and Rogers. An extensive wine selection with a sommelier on staff as they take their pairing seriously, and many other things like a wide variety of cheeses, gourmet sandwiches, entrees, coffee bar, bread, and pastries, all mouth-watering. Back with more Indiana Sports Beat Radio. Jim Reamer joining us from courtside Indiana right after this.
We'll be right back to the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios for more Indiana Sports Beat Radio with Jim Coyle, presented by Endeavor Hospitality Group and Andy Moore Honda of Bloomington.
Whether you're visiting Bloomington.
Okay, IU is having team camps this year?
I think so, yes.
I was not aware of that. I thought that they were just having the summer camps.
No, the team camps would be the way to go.
Well, I know that, but I did not know that they were having them.
Who am I looking at here? National Barbecue Day. Keep thinking I might try to do some barbecue in a slow cooker. Can't really have a smoker where I live, so.
Oh yeah.
That's the only bad thing about living where I do is I can't have a gas grill on the porch. I'm not 100% sure whether or not that I can have it off the side, but I don't know that I want to keep it there.
Triable. That's what I was trying to think of, Chris. Thank you.
Yeah, he put that day. Yeah, I saw that.
Brad's saying the IU team camp is June 4th, and Sicily is paired to play against Harrelson. I'm trying to find this team camp. There it is right there. I see it.
Yeah, my contact is no longer employed, so I don't have easy access to information like that. As easy access.
I think that gives away who it is. Am I right?
Yeah. It's not an end-all game as far as information goes, but for stuff like that, it is. Trying to get, it'd be just a text message and boom, within 5 minutes, I'd get the schedule for you.
That's a Saturday too.
Yeah.
Now we've been able to go before. I wonder if they'll let us in.
It's open. It's not. I mean, unless the only reason why the only issue has been COVID. It's wide open. Anybody can walk in and watch. Unless they've changed something.
That's amazing.
All right, here we go.
Basketball, football, and plenty more. Simply go to thehoosier.com and sign up. It's free. You can also find full episodes of Indiana Sports Beat Radio on the homepage or on the station every week, Monday through Friday. If we're not on a station where you live, we should be. Ask for Indiana Sports Beat Radio. This segment is brought to you by BB's Market in Bloomington. Now back to the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios for more Indiana Sports Beat Radio with Jim Coyle, presented by Endeavor Hospitality Group and Andy Moore Honda of Bloomington.
Welcome back. It is a Monday, but it's a good-looking Monday, and I hope you guys are ready to get your week started. If not, we'll help you along with that. Jim Reamer's with me from Courtside, Indiana. Hope your weekend went well.
It did. In the gym. Can't beat it.
Cannot beat it.
Unless there's a beach nearby, which we don't have a lot of beaches around here. So
no, we do not. Yeah, I'm looking at the team camps for Indiana coming up June 4th. That is correct. I will definitely be heading out there to check that out, especially to see Sicily. Well, I mean, I don't know that they'll be paired up. I mean, Harrelson is, which he probably is he end up being a 2 in college, you think, or is he going to be a 3?
No, he'd be a 2. He could be either. I mean, it's so interchangeable. I think the issue is going to be is how big can he guard and how quick can he guard? That'll determine multiple positions. He's definitely going to be able to guard the 2 at the college level. I could see situations where, it's funny they talk about small ball, but really small ball just means you're playing more skilled guys than you are post-up guys. They doesn't necessarily equate to small ball. Some of it depends on the types of athletes you have on the floor. But, there'd be a lot of instances where he would be able to guard the 2 and the 3. There'd probably be some instances where he'd be able to guard some 4s as he gets stronger. Then
especially if he grows a little bit more, because he's already 6'7".
Yeah. Of course, there's the other part of it too. Is I keep hearing he may not be at Fisher's, so keep hearing that
he may not be where
at Fisher's. There's always prep school stuff surrounding these guys.
Wait, but I'm talking about Sicily. You talking about Harrelson?
Oh, Harrelson, yeah, Harrelson.
Yeah,
I'm sorry. Yeah.
Now there were rumors that Sicily was being told to go to a prep school, but I've been told that's not going to happen. But But you're hearing Harrelson might?
Yeah, every week it's something different. You just try to parse through what's legitimate, what's not. There, Garway Dual at Carmel. There's some scuttlebutt around him as well. He's had a big spring, and after sort of emerging late in the year last year for Carmel, especially in the defensive end, offensively he's shown a lot more this spring than he did during the school year, and there's reasons for that. The ball's in his hands more in the summer than it was during the school year, but he came into an established lineup. He came into an established rotation, and they had, he had to pick his spots. And once he got into the groove, he was pretty good player for them. So now he would have a bigger role at Carmel. But you go down, we're in Louisville, and there's situations where you see prep school guys approaching some kids after games, and some of it's kind of seedy. Because those guys are trying to basically, pilfer other kids at other programs. I get phone calls every year. I don't get sometimes I get phone calls. I get a lot of emails and DMs. I get a lot of Twitter DMs. Hey, coach, love your team. Would love to talk to you about a couple of your guys for our prep school, blah, blah, blah. And what I do then is I send in their school coach's phone number. I'm like, here, why don't you call them and see if you can get some cooperation from them? So just not a big believer in the prep school route. I don't know that it is how many kids, at least from Indiana, those are the only kids I track, how many of those guys have actually been, that their recruiting has changed. I'm not talking about the post-grad stuff. I'm talking about going there as a high school, with high school eligibility. The post-grad stuff is a different story altogether. But even there, it doesn't change your ceiling by any stretch of the imagination. It does change your floor. And it does give some kids an extra year to get stronger. But the underclassmen stuff, some of the guys that have gone that route from Indiana, it's not been a good thing for them at all.
Now with the NIL, with the transfer portal, and I don't really see a need per se, but we probably won't see a change in the NBA's 1 year requirement or 19-year-old requirement before you can enter the league.
There's no reason for it. There's no reason for him to do that. A lot of times when people argue, and definitely not saying that that's where you're going with it, but a lot of times when people argue against that rule, they think it's something that the NCAA has, and it's an NBA rule,
right?
And any industry, even if it's especially if it's collectively bargained, which this is the case, any industry is allowed to set points of entry standards, that you must follow to be part of their league. People are saying people should sue you should sue the NBA, you should sue the NFL. The NFL rule is you have to go to college for 3 years, or you have to be 3 years beyond your high school graduation. The Major League Baseball rule used to be you could go right away, but if you went to college, you had to go 2 years. I don't know if that's still the case, but that's the way the rule used to be. But at the NBA level, look, the NBA, they want people who are they want people that are players that are physically mature, but they also want players who have more emotional security or maturity and more, mental maturity. They want to know, they want guys who can come in and they know they can work. They know they can be away from home, that they can kind of take care of themselves and not have to be completely micromanaged. And really the best way to get that is that year at college, is to prove you can do it there. The G League is becoming more of an option, and that's okay. I mean, this is the third year they're doing the second year they're doing the Ignite team, where it's basically guys that are invited to come in and play straight from high school. And last year it did produce a couple of higher draft picks. We'll see this year as the draft comes up in June, if any of those guys or how high any of those guys get drafted.
Any changes in the draft that here in the last, anything that you've seen to change someone's fortunes in the draft?
It's so hard. You know what? Because the Pacers are going to probably draft pretty high, not look too far down below, 5 or 6 guys. I could pull up a quick mock draft and probably have some of it memorized and see what some of that looks like. But I mean, I think the top 3 are still the top 3. I don't know that I would go outside of that. Like if the Pacers were 3rd, I don't know that I would jump and take a Jaden Ivey, which some people want him to do. That's not the direction I would go with it. I'd like to see them get one of those top 3 guys. Right now, NBADraft.net, they have, that's not my primary source, but it's still a quick one to get to. They have Jaden Ivey going first to Houston. I mean, if Houston took him first with the group of guys they've already got, I mean, I would think their GM would get fired. They've got the Pacers taking Johnny Davis from Wisconsin over Keegan Murray. There would be no way the Pacers should take Johnny Davis over Keegan Murray. It's duplication. He's not going to be the best available player there. I'm guessing that's their opinion that he is, but there's no way in hell I would take him over Keegan Murray at this point. Or I'm not even sure I would. What I feel yet about Benedict Mathurin from Arizona or AJ Griffin from Duke, but I would not take Johnny Davis over Keegan Murray.
Well, the player that I keep hearing, and I've said this earlier, I was in the program, mentioned in the top 5 a lot, is Jaden Ivey. Well, I know he's a great player. There are so many players that are just so universal in their talents. Chet Holmgren and Keegan Murray and maybe Johnny Dawkins. I don't know. But Chet Holmgren for certain, Keegan Murray for certain. I'm like going, man, there is no way in hell that I would take Jaden Ivey if either of those guys were available.
Yeah, not in the top 3. And that's how it's going to go. Is Jabari Smith, Paolo Banchero, and Chet Holmgren. I think right now, consensus-wise, are going to be the top 3. I think you could pick any order of those 3 and be fine. I think a lot of that will depend on a lot of it will certainly depend on who gets those picks. We're going to find that out tomorrow night at 8 p.m. So that's going to be the first step for the Pacers, if you're a Pacers fan. Or a fan of any of those teams that are in the lottery, especially high up in the lottery. Once that pick once the order is established, then it becomes full-blown draft season. Another name to keep in mind is the kid that didn't get a chance to play at Kentucky, Shaedon Sharpe. There's some thought that he would be a top 5 candidate, that his ceiling is that high. And at this point, no one knows much about his floor because he didn't get a chance to play. But, a lot of it is still pretty subjective stuff. And you start to get more draft, like you get more executive information passed along to some of these draft nicks, these guys that handle the draft, like the blogger community basically. And certainly some of the guys that work for ESPN or the Ringer or CBS Sports. Those are probably some of the most sourced information, but sometimes that information could be red herrings. Sometimes that information could be planted information to try to throw their people off the scent of who they're taking. And the Pacers land right now. They're projected to get the 5th pick based on the odds, based on their place in the standings. If they get in the top 5, they won't get Jabari Smith or Banchero or Holmgren, but they'll have a chance to get Keegan Murray. They'll have a chance to get Jaden Ivey. I would like to see them get Keegan Murray because I think it's a great fit for what they need. And I don't think Jaden Ivey is so much the quote best available player at 4 or 5 that I would pass up positional fit for a Keegan Murray or even a Benedict Mathurin, who's a bigger wing. And I don't buy the comparison that Jaden Ivey compares favorably to John Morant. That's a lot of that going around right now.
Looking at the draft, it starts today. But I'm trying to find.
You mean the combine?
Yes, I said the draft. The combine. I'm sorry. The NBA combine, the NBA draft combine begins today. But coverage of the Microsoft Surface NBA draft combine begins Thursday.
That's what I was
May
so you already got
19th on ESPN News from 3 to 5, and then it goes to ESPN2 from 5 to 7. The coverage continues on Friday from 1 to 2, and then on ESPN2 from 2 to 5. on ESPN News. So you can catch it it's going to be during the day, but not starting. The coverage won't start until Thursday. So we'll have Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, those guys probably, I guess, going through drills and tests and the Wonderlic tests.
Not the top guys, though.
Well, they've got so many guys there, too, to go through. I mean,
most of the top guys will opt out. Most of the first round. Most anybody projected in the first round will opt out, especially if you're projected in the top, say, 25. I would imagine those guys
opt out of playing at all. You mean
opt out of doing anything? They may not even, some of those guys won't even do the testing.
1 minute.
Well, it'll be fun. This is something to look forward to this week, but and you as well. What's your weekend looking like?
More basketball. George Hill event this weekend on the west side, primarily at the Factory, which is Teague family's location. Great venue. It's a tight fit. And I do hate playing on that NBA court because they don't have the high school 3-point line. And selfishly, from my team's perspective, we got a lot of guys that like to shoot 5 feet behind the line, but now they're shooting 5 feet behind the NBA line, and it literally just messes with their head. So
I hear you. Well,
we got to get that figured out.
Looking forward to doing it again next week. Big thanks, of course, to Jim Reamer from Courtside, Indiana, for joining us. Also, Charlie Miller, of course, Dustin Dopirak from the Bloomington Herald-Times, and Kyler Staley from thehoosier.com. Make sure you go there for your complete coverage of all things Indiana athletics. And, of course, to Endeavor Hospitality for helping us bring all this stuff to you, as well as Andy Moore Honda. Most importantly, thanks to John, the producer. To you guys, without you, we've got no reason to be here. We're back to do it all again tomorrow. More information as the draft picks come out and all that stuff will continue going forward. Until then, I'm Jim Coyle. Thanks a lot for joining us. I will see you on the radio.
Thanks for listening to Indiana Sports Beat Radio. Be sure to subscribe to our YouTube page for more clips and team coverage of Indiana basketball, football, and more. You can also find full episodes and tons of other content on thehoosier.com. We'll see you next time for another edition of Indiana Sports Beat Radio.